So I always like to think of the O-1 visa as a pathway which is better than the H-1B. So let's say that you are a student right now, or even if you directly want to move to the US without even studying, the only pathway that really shines for, especially for people like Indians, Nepalese, Bangladeshi, Pakistan, O-1 visa is very good in terms of the route. And it is superior to the H-1B simply because, number one, it is still a non-immigrant visa. It's very well similar to the H-1B. But it is dual intent. That means that you can actually go ahead and say tomorrow that, hey, I want a green card, and it has a pathway to green card mapped out to it, which means that you can actually stay in the US permanently with an O-1 visa. On top of that, there's unlimited number of O-1 visas available, as we know. So there's no cap like the H-1B that, okay, per year only these many visas will be issued. Nothing like that exists. You can simply go ahead, apply, petition for it. And with the approval rates, as you can see on the screen right now, it is insane. People are getting O-1 visas handed out literally. So getting through the O-1 visa is not difficult. It's better than the H-1B. You can literally go ahead and if you're not getting an employer, you can even start your own company, and your own company can sponsor you as well. It's literally that easy. That means you don't need to worry about having to leave the US in case you don't have a job. There's a lot of pros of this, right?
Okay, sounds very good. But I do have a few questions regarding the O-1 visa, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say I do get the O-1 visa. How long can I stay in the United States?
So once you actually get the O-1 visa, the initial period is 3 years. On top of that, after that, every single time you can get an extension for 1 year. So every 1 year you can get an extension. However, if you want, you can also choose to move towards the EB1. That is an actual green card which you can go for after basically getting through the O-1 visa, which has very similar, if not the exact same requirements. So you can actually go ahead and go for a green card after that as well. But to answer your question, you can stay unlimited in the US as much as you want.
Sounds very promising. So I do have a husband and 2 children. Can I bring them along with me?
That's a very good question. And one of the biggest pros of the O-1 visa is that you can very easily, again, take your spouse, take your, children with you, and that's not really a problem. Just like the H-1B, it's very similar.
Okay, that is very good. That's really what I was looking for. So I have another question. Let's say I would already be in the United States. Would I still be able to apply for an O-1 visa? Because I was exploring to study abroad as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way it works is if you are already in the US or outside, doesn't matter. You can apply from anywhere. You can actually go for the O-1 visa even during the F1 visa OPT if you're, just finishing off as a student as well. Your employer will sponsor you for the O-1 instead of the H-1B, which is a much better process. Or what you can alternatively do is you can also go for the O-1 after you already are on the H-1B. Let's say you are not getting a renewal of the H-1B, your job goes away suddenly, in such tough conditions, O-1 is the way to go, and it can literally be one of the best investments you've ever made.
Okay, all right. So it all sounds very promising, but I would like to know a bit more about the eligibility criteria.
All right, so for the eligibility, see, the O-1 visa is all about extraordinary ability, right? So in terms of extraordinary ability, you need to prove that you have certain characteristics that other people don't have in the fields of science, arts, education, business, athletics, or something in the TV industry, motion picture. You need to have extraordinary ability. Now you might think we're wasting our time here, right? I'm not extraordinary, I don't have anything like that, but I'm here to prove otherwise. All right, now here's the boring part of the video right now. I'm going to be telling you what kind of abilities you need to have, what is the eligibility criteria. It's a little bit long, but I want to go over it so that you understand exactly whether you are eligible for it or not, and how many tick marks you have next to your profile, right? So let's take a look, yeah? So in terms of the eligibility, the first thing you need to do is you need to fulfill 3 of these 10 attributes, all right? 3 of these 10. And don't worry if you don't even have a single one, we're going to talk about it in a bit, all right? So first, you should have received a national or international recognition. You should have a prize for it, award of excellence. Okay, doesn't matter if you have it or not. The second one, you should be a member of an association in the field which demands outstanding achievement of their members, right? See, it's a bit hazy, as you can understand. The requirement is not very predefined. What is considered as a group over here that is, good enough, there's no definition of that, right? So that's why it's a petition. There's the third requirement that says that you have been featured in some published material in a professional or major trade publication or any other major media. It could even be an online media, could be like Times of India, something like that, newspaper, right? So a lot of these criteria are available. Then there's the fourth one. You should be a judge of the work of others. You should have done it in a professional capacity, right? Either individually or on a panel, right? So there's these four requirements. And the fifth one is that you should have contributed to an original, scientific, scholarly, artistic, athletic, or business-related work. This could be basically a research paper, for instance. The sixth requirement is that you should have authored scholarly articles in professional or major trade publications or any other social media. This is, again, very similar to what you can say a research paper itself. So that kind of qualifies for that one as well. You should have work that has been displayed at an artistic exhibition, showcases, or maybe you should have performed a leading or critical role in a distinguished organization. You may have commanded a high salary, right, for the role that you are basically pursuing, right? Or finally, number 10, you should have commercial successes in performing art. So even if you qualify for any three of these, doesn't have to be all 10, any three, and it's our job to prove that you're qualifying for these three. First off, that's a major eligibility thing that is off your list.
Okay.
There's two more things though. You also need a recommendation from a reference who's already an expert in your field. So there's that, but that's not very tough to get. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
And finally, on top of that, you need an employer to sponsor. All right. So these three things, again, first off, qualifying for any one of those three, then, having that reference, and finally having one employer. These three things are the whole eligibility criteria.
Okay. One concern though, what if I'm not qualifying for any of those 10 points right now, which is in my case actually.
So do you want the cheapest option?
Of course, I want the cheapest option.
Okay. All right. The cheapest option is going to be that you go for research papers. And this is something that we have seen happen with our clients. Many of them use this as a backup route to the H-1B. Many of them actually use it as their primary route, doesn't matter. Right? But at the end of the day, if you have research publications, even if you have 4 to 5 good publications in good IEEE, Springer, Taylor & Francis, good journals basically, right? And again, if you don't have that, you can again connect with me on my WhatsApp. The number is in the description. We can help you get those publications as well, reputable, good publications of good quality, which are basically being referred in the society to do further research, right? So if you can just get those under your name, what that means is that you will qualify for 3 of those attributes.
Okay.
You want to ask how?
Yeah, of course. I want to know why.
So even if you're not qualifying for one, right? Number one thing is that, let's look at point number 3, which says that you have been featured in published material in professional or major trade publications or other major media. So if your paper is basically being used by others, they are basically featuring your name in their research paper that, okay, I'm using this person's research. So as soon as you get a citation, this requirement is fulfilled.
Okay.
Let's take a look at the next one, which is point number 5. Has contributed original scientific, scholarly, artistic, athletic, or business-related works in a major field of significance. This is basically just a definition of a research paper. So if you have your own research paper published, that means that you're qualifying for this one as well. And finally, point number 6, has authored scholarly articles in major trade publications or major media. So even if your research papers are being published right now, as you already know, they are published as a part of a book, as a part of the series, right? So that's again the same exact thing. So on the basis of these 3 itself, you're qualifying. Now, there may be other attributes. Maybe you've already gotten a high salary somewhere. Maybe you have something else out of these 10 that you're actually, maybe you have an award, right? But on the basis of just these 3, or just based on the research paper itself, you can actually go ahead and qualify for the O-1 visa. I think that's pretty great, and it's the cheapest option out there.
Okay, sounds very, very promising. I'm very excited. So how do I go for research papers?
All right, so there's actually 2 major pathways here as well, right? Number 1 would be that you actually go ahead and you take a look at research groups on YMGrad, where you can either go for an individual research paper that is completely yours, or you can join a group where, you come together as a part of the group and you publish it. Keep in mind that when you do it as a group, the contribution is also lower because it gets split up between the people that are doing the research, right? Then you get assistance till you get published. Basically, till your paper is in Springer or IEEE, then that part is guaranteed. So your investment is not going into a waste. On top of that, you get help with citation so that you can actually go ahead and build credibility. Make sure that your requirement number 3 is also satisfied over there. That's one pathway, which again does require some investment, but it's a small investment that always capitalizes. And again, if you need that help, you can WhatsApp me. My number is in the description. But if you want to do everything by yourself and you believe you have the time, it takes a lot of time to publish them by yourself, but you want to do the research, you want to basically go ahead, publish something new, and you know that you can do something reputable in the field, you are good enough. In that case, you can go into the YMGrad discussions page. You can just post over there, hey guys, I'm looking to do research in so-and-so field. If you're interested, DM me, and then they can just message you back on YMGrad itself or comment down there itself. That's how you can connect with potential people who are interested in doing research in your field. And from there, you guys just do it by yourself. That's one option as well.
Okay, those are great options. So how can I apply for the O-1 visa after that?
Sounds good. So the first thing you need is an employer, like I said, or a sponsor who files the I-129 form on your behalf. That's essentially the petition for the O-1 visa. The next thing is to, attach a contract between you and the employer. That's again going to be uploaded by the employer themselves. The third thing, as I mentioned, you need a reference and their recommendation, right? So that part will need to be attached. Again, all of this is being attached by the employer right now.
Okay.
And finally, number 4, you need to attach the proof of those 3 conditions that we talked about, that you're meeting those 3 conditions, right? And your employer, and you can decide on which 3 conditions those are, and then you can just submit the application from there.
Okay, makes sense. So what if I don't have a sponsoring organization?
Oh, you can choose to sponsor yourself. You don't need to have a sponsor, as I previously mentioned. You could start your own company in the US, which, by the way, is not very costly. You can even do it sitting remotely outside the US. And then that company could be used to sponsor you. See, O-1 visa says you cannot sponsor yourself, but it doesn't say that you cannot create a company and then sponsor yourself through the company. So you become an agent of the company over there, and then that's how you sponsor yourself.
Oh, okay. All right. Great loophole. So do I have to be in the United States to file the O-1 petition?
Absolutely not. You can do it anywhere in the world.
Okay, thank God. So what are the filing fees in that case?
So there is a $460 I-129 filing fee, which was the petition essentially. That's one fee that you might be needing to worry about. But if your employer is sponsoring you, then they will be paying that fee for you.
Okay, sounds good. And I have one more question. The processing time, how long does it take for the O-1 visa to get approved?
So it usually takes somewhere between 4 to 6 months in most cases.
Okay.
Right? 4 to 6 months. I know it's a long time. However, you do have the option to go for premium processing, where you can actually pay, instead of the $465, I believe you can go for somewhere around $2,500, where you would be able to actually get the decision within 15 days.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's very quick. Okay, good to know. Thank you so much.
So guys, what are you waiting for? If you also want to keep a backup to the H-1B, or you want to directly move to the US, this would be the best pathway, and the way to move forward would be the research papers, as I mentioned. So make sure that you sign up on YMGrad.com today. You can get started. And again, if you need help, you can reach out to me with the link in the description. I hope that this video helps, gives you reassurance, because this is also a pathway to the people who don't really get the H-1B. It's a lottery system, so it doesn't have any merit consideration. A lot of times, good people have to face, rejections on the H-1B lottery just because they were not lucky enough, right? So on that basis, again, this is a lifesaver for you guys as well. I hope this video helps. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram for more such content, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, take care.